Hello, Brick Sculptors. Welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris, and it has been a very long time since I have done any sort of theory type video on this channel. So I said, it's time. And I was trying to pick at my brain and see what we could work with, and I said, hey, I got to revisit the sugar grid. I still think there's so much unlockable information in the sugar grid that hasn't been tapped, and I want to dive in deeper. So that's what I did. I tinkered around a little bit, and I found something really cool that I want to share with you guys. Now, if this doesn't look familiar to you, I highly recommend you watch the first sugar grid video. It was posted a long time ago. I'll link it right here, as well as at the end of the video, but it will make this make a lot more sense. I believe I've done 4 sugar grid videos. I'll post the most relevant ones at the end of this video, but it's fantastic knowledge to have. It's kind of a game changer, and I think it is definitely a huge asset to have when you're building. But anyway, that's enough rambling. Let's talk about this new technique. So this is a sugar grid. You should be well familiar with how this works. This is the standard sugar grid, nothing crazy here. And in one of my previous videos, I shared how you can take plates and wedge plates. The wedge plates that work best for this are the ones where you have a 3x1 angle on it, and they work together like this. And with this sugar grid, we can change the angles by inserting these wedge plates. Now, the best way to do this is to have your 2 studs intersected halfway in the middle of the wedge plates. You line them up like that, and then using your sugar grid angle, you can put one right next to it. So I demonstrated in a previous video how you can basically take this, and if you use the right spacing, in this case it's going to be 6 long, you can basically go from standard grid to sugar grid and then jump right back in. See how these are halfway cut in half. If you go longer than 6 long or shorter, you're going to have trouble because they're not going to line up. You can basically jump into the sugar grid angle and then back out of it just like this. Fantastic technique. You could use this for a really awesome walkway in a city, but super cool, attached at an angle with only using selective studs from the grid. Now this is all cool, but I want to take it one step further. So I wanted to see what I could do with this, and I wanted to start by doing 2 angles. So let's start with this middle piece here. I'm just going to put this on the standard grid. And I have to, again, pay attention to where my wedge plates fall. You have to have 2 of those in the middle. And then a standard grid. Put our wedge plate, and then right here, same thing as we just saw over there. But now I want to work on this side. And so, because of the sugar grid, you can place this no problem. But we have an issue here. We can't put this at an angle. So first I thought, well, maybe it's a stud issue because they're not lining up in the middle, but that's not what it is. You see, the problem is this is at a different angle than this. This particular sugar grid works with this angle. This particular sugar grid does not work with this angle, but the opposite does. As you may know, every sugar grid has an equal and opposite sugar grid. This sugar grid looks like this, but it has a partner sugar grid that looks like this, and it's the exact same thing, just mirrored. So it's the complete opposite, and it changes the angle the complete opposite. So this one would fit with this grid, and this one would fit with this grid, just like that. So now that I had that concept down, I thought, okay, this would be pretty cool to make kind of a curved, arched bridge or walkway, hence the sugar bridge. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so I started by building this bridge, and it's pretty simple. We use our wedge plates here. You can attach these with hinges very easily. So I've just got a hinge down inside here and then one on the front. And I even did the same thing on the bottom. I was 1 arch short, so don't tell anyone. I've got 5 arches in here. I'm missing one in the back, but it doesn't matter. It works all the same. But I made this nice little walkway. I think this would be super cool in a mock. I got to figure out where to incorporate this. If I hadn't already done my fall challenge, this would have made for an awesome fall challenge build, but it would be too big for 32 by 32. Anyway, so I've got these angle plates on the bottom, and that is our sugar bridge. Pretty simple construction. How do we attach it to a plate? So I apologize for all the gray. Unfortunately, those bridge pieces I pretty much had just in gray, and it's the right color for a bridge. And these base plates pretty much just come in gray. So I try to mix up the colors so you guys can see better, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. So sorry about that. So you'll see here I have two grids laid out, and yes, they are opposites. So on one side, I have this grid, and on one side, I have that grid. Now, if you're going to do this, there is one rule. They have to be in the same grid. And you're probably like, no, they're different grids. Yes, but you have to pay attention to the centers. You see, every sugar grid, I'll take this thing Rick is standing on here. This is a stack of sugar grids. Did a video on that too. Every sugar grid, the best way to lay out this template is put a 2x2 of some sort down and put your studs on the outside. And then obviously the other one is just the opposite of that, where the studs are just rotated over one on each side. But if you have to keep the same central position, let me show you what I mean. So if I start with a square over in this sugar grid and a square over in this sugar grid, you're going to have to space one stud for each sugar square, let's call it. And you can work these together, and the spacing is perfect. If this was shifted over one, it wouldn't line up. If it was shifted over two, it wouldn't line up. It has to be shifted over enough to get rid of a square. But anyway, so it has to be in that same pattern, and then have your opposite angles, and you have to make sure you have the right angle on the right side, because these are both going to create separate angles. Now we can take our sugar bridge here, and you'll notice I have one stud of a different color. I just use those for alignment. There are plenty of places you can attach this, depending on how you build the grid and where you want to set up, but this gets it nice and centered, and that's why I'm lining these green ones up. And right there, you can see these both stick down perfectly to the grid just using selective studs. I'm going to pull this off though, because I want to show you the beauty of this and why I love this technique for angles. And keep in mind, as I've stated in previous videos, there are infinite sugar grids, which means you have infinite angles. The sugar grid, the classic basic one, works the best because you get that angle of the 1/3 slope. The other ones, you're going to need to get creative and figure out some techniques. I haven't dove that deep yet. Maybe there's more out there, who knows. But let me show you some other stuff here. I'll grab some more of these little studs. And I can put studs here in the middle. And because the sugar grid perfectly integrates with the standard grid, that middle section will connect seamlessly with the standard grid. So I'm going to lay 6 of these down in the middle. And because of these wedge plates, I can even attach here. So I'm going to put a few more on the sides. Just like that. And this will connect seamlessly on the middle, left, and right. Pretty cool. You can even go one step further. Lost my green stud there. So because these portions of the bridge are at an angle, we can work the sugar grid over. So if we expand this a little bit and just keep filling in a little bit more of the grid, and we can kind of continue to work this over. Now I already did this, and there's only one position that's going to attach just based on how these plates fall and how these grids fall, but one is better than none in my opinion. So it should help give a nice solid connection. But here you can show how you have to keep that same grid working its way over into the center here. And this stud right here on each side will also attach. So you can attach more than just the center. You know, a lot of people when they build angles like this, what they'll end up doing, sticking down the center and the rest of it just floats freely on tile, which works, but it's not very secure and there's no fun math involved. Now, I hate math, but I love Lego and I love Lego math, even though I'm not good with math. Because this stuff to me is relatable and fun and it's just basic geometry. And that's what I enjoy. So here you can see that one green stud under there on each side. If you can see that, I know it's kind of hard to get an angle there, is attached, and this is insanely solid. You got both these platforms attached. You got the middle fully attached. This is going to take a lot of effort to pull off. So super cool how you can work now 1, 2, 3 different grid patterns into one project here and make such a seamless connection with those angles. And that is the sugar bridge. So super cool. I absolutely love this technique. I think there is still so much more to learn about this sugar grid as well as all the other ones out there. And again, if you haven't watched my other sugar grid videos, I'm going to post them here. And I really want to make a new sugar grid video, just recapping on all the old information I've already done, because I realize a lot of my older followers have seen it, but a lot of my newer ones probably haven't. And the original sugar grid video is so old, I hadn't even named it yet. So it doesn't even call it the sugar grid in that video. It's just a technique that I had come up with that I wanted to share. So I'm going to try to do more of a formal video introducing the sugar grid and giving the best information I have to date on it. If you guys want to see that, let me know below in the comments, and I think I can make that happen. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys like this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I'll do my best to answer them. That's all I have for this time, and we will see you next time.